show called, I don't know if you know, The Bookie, based
The
on
Rookie with Nathan
Rookie.
Fillion.
No, HBO Max, about a bookie. I was like, oh, this is a period piece. No, it takes place now. I was like, who was online sports betting? You're gonna go a TV show? All right, cool.
And it's an HBO Max show, so it'll get what, one season?
Possible. Well, it's not Netflix. Maybe 2 seasons, and never really get the crest where you wanted to go. So,
okay. All right. Hey everybody. We're just started up as the Sidekick Show with Rob Gaudette, and special guest host tonight is Stu Pei, filling in for John. Stu, what's going on?
Nothing really. I'm excited to be back and chatting about stuff we're watching. We, those of you who don't know behind the scenes, Rob and I watch much more content than John. So I'll be happy to talk about stuff that, we're going to spiral different directions because Rob is chomping the bit. And when he talks to John, John's famous catchphrase is,
I got nothing.
That's it. So we're going to talk about some random things today, ladies and gents. So get ready for the ride.
We're going to talk about it. We call like two nerds talking tonight. And essentially we're going to be talking about stuff that we've been watching, things that maybe you've been watching, things that you've been doing recently, whether there's any games you're playing, and, Black Friday. Listen, we're gearing up for the holidays. So now is the perfect opportunity to start catching up, or at least planning on what shows and movies you want to catch up on while you enjoy some time off. So we're definitely going to be doing that. If you are listening to us after the fact, whether it's through your Apple iTunes or Spotify or however you're listening to your podcast, you can always join us live every Sunday night, live 8:15 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And we're there. And yeah, give us a listen, give us a rating, give us 5 stars. If you want to give me 5 stars and John 3, it's understandable. We understand, but unfortunately, you have to give the show more all stars. And John obviously is not here. He actually kind of told everybody beforehand. He said, "Hey, everybody, I might not be around for much of December because the store is very busy." And why is the store busy, Stu? Why do you think it could possibly be?
I believe it's a tradition that happens once a year. We gather around aluminum pole. We air our grievances.
Yes, it's Festivus.
Thank you.
Festivus for the rest of us. Is that December 18th or is that 22nd?
Oh God, that's really got me on a loop. When is Fest? I think you're right. It is. I feel like it's the 22nd. I feel like it, but oh man, that's a great question. Someone in chat will correct us. When is Festivus? Anyways.
So John, we have a couple something to talk about with stuff in the store, but he wanted me to press upon all of you fine folks, whether you're tuning in live or listening after the fact. This happens every year. It stresses John and Andre out when they get phone calls with like 4 days left till Christmas, being like, "Hey, do you have this in?" And they're like, "We had 90 of them in up until the 3rd week of December, and now they're gone." So if you are looking for gifts, whether it's for your significant others, family members, friends, or hell, even for yourself, because let's face it, who doesn't like buying themselves stuff? At this age, you end up buying yourself stuff and then having someone else wrap it for you. You're going to want to visit Heroes World. Heroesworld.ca is the website. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can get through there. They have the address of the new location, so you're definitely going to want to check it out. I believe last week, Andre did his cookies and comics with Superman for All Seasons. I think he had posted some photos of the cookies. People have made baked cookies and brought them, and they all hang around and read Superman for All Seasons and talk about the comics. Definitely want to check out. There's a lot of things going on in the store. One thing I'll be mentioning in a little bit. But first of all, Stu, my friend, how are you?
Good. The correction is in. It is neither dates you had mentioned. It is December 23rd. So that is the official day of Festivus. I was thinking, 22nd seems right. But apparently Festivus is a secular holiday celebrated on December 23rd as an alternate to the pressures and commercialism of the Christmas season. So don't
you find, I would rather it be the 22nd to at least give you a bit of a buffer, because a lot of people celebrate stuff on the 24th. And if you have to air your grievances
replacement, right? This was
What?
supposed to be a replacement for the other holidays. So yeah,
Yeah. All
that's
right, fair enough.
the pressures of commercialism, as would say, which goes against the whole soliloquy that you just presented. So let's just strike that from the record.
All right,
Buy
Your
stuff.
Honor,
Buy lots of
please
stuff.
strike from the record. The jury will not adhere or listen to these comments that were previously made. Stu, how are you, man? How's it going?
Good, good. We're just before we started, we just chatted about stuff we're watching. So I'll wait till we go through that because it's going to be a real fun, real time to. We didn't get a chance to really go through our checklist. Sometimes Rob and I watch very different shows, so I'm excited to see what he has and recommendations because that's what we're all about.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I'm kind of gearing up right now to I have the week off before Christmas.
Yes,
So
standard.
I'm
Standard fare
yeah.
for you.
Well, no, usually I'm actually off the period between Christmas and New Year's, right? But this year I'm doing the week before to allow other people the opportunity to be off for the second half there. But it's funny, right? Because like all I want to do is hang out at home. Like, see, the kids will still be in school, my wife will be working, and all I want to do is hang out, watch some movies, play some video games. And my wife's like, you know what you should do? You should book lunches with friends that you haven't seen in some time and get together. And I'm like, like, yes, you're right, I should, but man, I just want to watch movies and do nothing. So I'm now kind of starting to make my list of shows and movies I would like to try to get through. I find myself though thinking about shows of past that I'm like, like Game of Thrones. I'm like, I would really like to go back and watch Game of Thrones again. I don't know. They just
no. I will say no. I'm good.
Or even The Wire, right? Like
that's acceptable. Yes, The Wire is acceptable. Game of Thrones. Right. I just feel that just the last 2 seasons, and this is just brought up 100 times already. Just they didn't care. So when you don't care about the product, it shows on the screen. And although it looked very beautiful, the substance was so off that I was like, I don't even know what this is anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, a certain Targaryen went on the boat, and then the show ended. So I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Well, I think that in terms of watching, like really at this standpoint, we talked about before, watching Hawkeye during that time of year is a nice thing in the background. We talked about before, Hawkeye, the Christmassy feel of that in the background. And because this is a dense couple seasons you're going to cut through. Just in terms of time and what you're doing in the background, what was I thinking the other day? I was going to rewatch. I think we've pushed John to rewatch The Sopranos, which I think if you haven't done it in a few years, totally worth it. And then if you feel good time of year, you can just watch Ted Lasso again. It's just a nice, smooth, quick in and out experience. So,
can I tell you something that I will not be rewatching? And these are better lists, right? I will not be rewatching Twisted Metal. I saw that on Paramount Plus. I don't know what it is about video game adaptations as of like we've talked about this before on the Heroes World show. We did a ranking of the best video game movies. I have a tough time though thinking of anything that's like really stood out as of late. Now, the argument could be made Sonic, and admittedly, I haven't seen the Mario Brothers movie yet, right? It's on Amazon Prime. I haven't watched it yet.
Whoa, okay. Yes,
it is on my list.
But here's the thing. It's like a Krispy Kreme donut, that Super Mario Brothers movie. Delightful, a sugar rush, and then afterwards you're left wanting more. You're like, this is great. But was it really anything that you'll remember? Not really.
It was kind of like cotton candy. You consume it and then it's gone.
100%. Like you just go through, it's like, I really question that they went through all the, I guess, the big hits and all the kind of the buttons you need to push in order to get the nostalgic vibe. And then once you're done that movie, you're like, oh, okay. I can't imagine what they're going to do when they talk about shared universe and they're going to build more. I sat there going, you kind of went through all the stuff you need to do in the first movie. I can't imagine there's anything else for you to do, but okay, carry on.
Yeah. Well, let me just say that Twisted Metal, did you end up watching it at all or no?
I did. Man, it was something where you could feel it was a Vancouver show without saying it was a Vancouver show. Very much in that line. So, yeah,
it was a swing and a miss for me, man.
They tried, and I think that it's the IP that they're going for because there's a lore, their history. You know, there was a few moments I cackled and like, I remember this, but that's because I was the young person playing PlayStation 2 on my buddy's house, playing Twisted Metal, split screen doing it.
Your PS1.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
There was more than one Twisted Metal game, but yeah, Twisted Metal 1. I just can't imagine there are other people who felt the exact same nostalgia as I did playing that game.
But don't you think
Another show I won't go back and watch is Bodies. That was I was like, whoa, it was a lot. It was a lot. I was like, yeah, but it was a lot.
I like that show though. Like I was really like it is a very slow burn. It takes like episode 4 to really kind of get you, which sometimes we've talked about in the past. Like when you have to sit through 3 to 4 episodes before it finally hooks you, that's a big commitment. Like that is really, like you really have to be heavily invested in wanting to watch a show or succumb to peer pressure, which generally Stu and I are really good at pushing onto people.
I think honestly, when we had less content and available content, it was something you could do. I think one of the standard lines I used to say back, and I think the arguments lost a lot of weight, was, you know what the best Star Trek is? Deep Space Nine. You just got to trudge through season 1. Season 1's really bad, but if you get through season 1, saying that out loud is ludicrous. Pushing someone to watch 24 episodes of just pure trash to get the good stuff. I'm like, now at this point, just jump to the good stuff. Like, yeah, you miss some of the lore and the backstory, but if it hooks you, just go back afterwards. Like, you don't really need to watch the, season 1 of DS9 to experience the joy that is Ronald D. Moore's run for the last 4 seasons. It's just such a slog to get through to the good stuff that, yeah, people's time is valuable. Like, frankly, I can, instead of watching 1 season of a bad show, you can watch 2, 3 shows of series on BBC on a shorter time span. So you really got to hit someone fast, or their attention span, they're going to doom scroll on their phone, and that's it. But yeah, I know, Lewis, but are you really appreciating the show and appreciate the nuance? Like, for example, I watched Elemental recently on Disney Plus. I didn't watch it in theaters. I was like, whatever. But I really appreciated watching it without anything else, like without on my phone. Like, it was a beautiful movie. Like, the story was fine, but just watching all little things, the Pixarness of that movie, I was like, wow, this is great. And I don't think that I would have appreciated if I was doing multiple things at once, which, you tend to do for a lot of shows now when you're, which is why Big Bang Theory went on for so long on TV. Yeah. People just did it while they're doing laundry or making food in the background. It didn't rely on you putting in deep thought and brain power to analyze plot and what's going on and the loose threads.
Yeah, I found that like in certain TV shows, what I end up doing is that like if I'm not really too sure, you know what it is? If I'm not sure, I'll give it a go. And then if I'm like, after 1 or 2 episodes, I'm like, you know what? This is better as like a side show on my television next to my computer. So I can have it on. I can occasionally glance. My TV's right here. Okay, great. But I don't need to be focused. I found that I was really trying to focus watching Superman and Lois. And then last season, I kind of fell off. I started just like binging it, like keeping it all the recordings. And then we just kind of watch it on my TV while I was working. One that I started doing that and then switched to like being like on my couch watching was Quantum Leap. So I'm a couple episodes behind, but I have to say I've really enjoyed that series.
I told you to get on it, and you're like, I don't know. I'm like, man, it's good. It's real good. It was a surprise. I think also season 1, what surprised me was the authenticity of what they were trying to, and the commitment, and then the guest stars from season 1. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect you to be in this show. And there's been a lot of nice little droppets of fun actors that I'm like, oh, aren't you too big to do this show? But I think they're all like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And
like Tim Matheson in season 2, right? Like he's in like episode 2 or 3 of season 2. You're like, Tim Matheson, what the hell? Great.
So good. Yeah. And he's like plays that nice. It's really good. And Brendan Routh in season 1. And then I'm like, oh, and then the OG Hawkeye / Aquaman was there. And I'm like, oh yeah, before he became This Is Us. So
yeah, Justin Hartley.
Yeah, just Hartley. So that was good. It's been fun to see. I think I think they're holding out hope that maybe Scott Bakula will show up in the future, and I don't mind if he does. I think will be a nice send off if that's the case. So
I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Okay,
I'm gonna before we talk about what's in the store, just quickly. Last week was Black Friday. Did you do any shopping at all? Did you do Cyber Monday shopping? Anything of that nature?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I didn't do anything. I honestly, it's just been a chat too. I just ended up watching Scott Pilgrim takes off. I knew what I was getting into before, and I think there's a lot of purists who were concerned, and I was fine with this reimaging of it. But
yes, Steve says there's quite a bit of controversy about not being this anime TV series that's on Netflix right now. It has all of the original cast from the movie as voice actors, obviously being an anime. But Steve is alluding to in a comment that there's a lot of controversy of the show not being a faithful adaptation of the comic / manga, sorry. But it's a bit more of a spin-off of the movie, kind of mixing both worlds. So you said you saw it as opposed to shopping, which I think at the
end of the day, the let's be honest, the actors that they got for this movie, the bit role, they're all too big for any of those roles now. So they had to be like, we got to give you more than 3 lines. So I enjoyed the fact that they I think without spoiling too much, I think the best apropos is they went He-Man on this. And those of you who watch He-Man would know there's different emphasis on different characters. And I think they did a really good job of still emphasizing the character that is Toronto and Canada and showing some fun stuff. But again, you look at it going, all the actors need to stretch and do different things. So again, I kind of already knew that this wasn't a full faithful adaptation, but I still enjoyed pretty much the entire time watching it. I thought it was fun, and it actually kind of addressed some of the not so great things that were produced at that time period for the audience of 2023. There were things where you're like, ooh, that's a little rough now. And I think they kind of did their best to smooth it over and really address it. So yeah, I agree. I'll rewatch Scott Pilgrim Takes Off probably in a few months, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, I didn't really felt the need to buy too much stuff because frankly there wasn't really anything I wanted on that scale. I have decided on a personal nature to move away from bulk items and buy really like some of your statues in the background. If I'm going to go for something, I'm going to go for something big, go for something nice in the background rather than 20 of the same object. So I'm slowly looking to see what I can do, but I think also space, as I can see in your beautiful background, it's a premium. So eventually you start running out of space. So I think that I have to be very mindful of purchasing and whatnot and buying. I think moving up to bigger memorabilia is, I think, the short form of what I'm saying, like bigger, more unique items and pay a little bit more, but knowing that instead of having 50 books, I'll buy the one signed, black ink picture that I was hoping for from a comic I want. So that's
right.
I think where I'm going to go further down. What about you? Did you buy anything?
I did. I can't beside the couch here, right behind. There's like a white T-shirt there, but there's a whole bunch of boxes there. I mean, I have this big, massive box came today with stuff. Nice. When you're shopping for kids and parents and everything else of that, sometimes it's just easier to do big, massive bulk purchases of shit, right? I did pick up some movies. I've lately, since we've renovated the house and I've gone with a 4K television and Blu-ray player, I've been purchasing more physical discs. So I actually picked up a couple. You know what I picked up though on 4K was The Shawshank Redemption. I was like, you know what, man? I don't have this on Blu-ray or DVD. I'm going to pick this up. And that's one of the movies I want to sit down and watch over the holidays. So
honestly, I agree with you. I stand by our podcast we did years ago when we were able to do that D&D draft.
draft.
And I think everyone was like, man, you don't need physical media. Digital's the future. And I'm like, no, man. And the last few weeks, people are like, yoink, anything that you bought off this, it's gone. So I'm kind of like, man, I don't like the precedents that Sony and Nintendo just like, you buy stuff on our digital ecosystem. We can decide at any point that ecosystem's going away, and then you got to rebuy it on something else. So I kind of, I do like a few of my things, but I think more games that I worry about more so than some of the movies. But you can see it. Like the fact that even WandaVision is now available on DVD and Blu-ray, you're like, oh, this is something new for something that's supposed to be just exclusively on Disney Plus. I think there's still a market for it, and people have, do recognize that things can go away. So
what they Disney released WandaVision, they released Loki season 1, and what was the other one? They did release. They released another one, didn't they? Wasn't there 3 shows they released on physical media?
I can't remember what the third one is. But I
know it wasn't She-Hulk. I don't think it was Falcon Winter Soldier. It wasn't Hawkeye, although I don't know why they would. Like, I actually don't know why they wouldn't have released Falcon and Winter Soldier and then Hawkeye. To be honest with you, I thought that those would have been ones to definitely purchase.
It's Loki 1, WandaVision. I think those are the 2. I'm looking on right now. I don't see WandaVision season 1 coming on 4K on the internet. So those are 2 confirmed, maybe more. I know the Mandalorian is also coming out on Blu-ray.
Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking. Maybe it was Mandalorian then.
Mandalorian. Maybe they can combine it to that section. So.
Okay, I want to take a quick shout out, a big thanks to John, who said it's everybody. He said sorry he couldn't be here. It's gonna be kind of wishy-washy whether he's going to be here throughout the month. Although I think we'll all try to get together for something for the holidays. But he did want me to share something that's happening at the store, so I'm going to throw it over here. It's called Dynamic Art Unleashed. It's an art course with Andrew Kwan. I'm just going to now this is all taken from the heroesworld.ca website. So if you wanted more information, you can definitely take a look there. It's a workshop. I take a look. There's 4 courses. It runs the month of January. So we're looking at every Tuesday in January, commencing on the 9th. It's a 6:30 to 9 p.m. Workshop. So January 9th, the 16th, 23rd, and the 30th. And it looks like it's obviously Andrew is showing some skills, tips of the trade, and how to in terms of sketching and art. The sessions are like session 1 is foundations of figure drawing. Session 2 is understanding form and detail. Session 3 is extended illustration studies, which is pretty cool for people who are definitely into comics and whatnot. And I don't know what session 4 is. Maybe it's just like a wrap up of all the previous 3. However, the courses again run all every Tuesday throughout the month of January. If you go to the website right now, it will tell you it's a $200 course, which you know what, like it's $199.9, $200 for the course. That's like nothing for the type of amount of knowledge and skill set you're going to be getting with Andrew. So I would definitely recommend, if you were interested, reach out to John, reach out to Andre. You go right onto the website. If I exit out here, you can go on there. You can actually add it to your cart, which means you could actually subscribe, I guess, to it, register yourself, and get some more information off of the Heroes World website. So that's heroesworld.ca. It's on the front page. It's called Dynamic Art Unleashed, an art course with Andrew Kwan throughout the month of January. So definitely you're going to want to get it on that. And John will be putting together some omnibuses that he may try to throw up on sale for next Sunday. So it might be one of those like special discounts that you get for like a few hours throughout the course of the show next week. So you're definitely going to want to tune in if you're looking to get some omnis from Heroes World. So
on a quick side note, I love the chat because they're just Lewis mentioning he bought Loki on 4K, and then Steve was just mentioning too. It's like, oh, a lot of people are going for physical or pirate to burn them onto physical media now. And I'm like, I'm like, who has a Blu-ray DVD burner? I can't. I think I had a DVD, like a CD burner, like in the year of our Lord 2021, but I don't think I think I've made a physical disc in gosh knows how long. I think you just put it on a USB or for flash drive now. So I'm laughing because it's like who is putting it on now? You just put it on like a solid state drive, which brings me to that fun thing where I don't know if you heard of Plex, Rob. Have you heard of this service?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
You hear what happened last week where it updated, and on Plex it was showing what other people were watching on their Plex server, and if you didn't turn it off, you didn't know. So I could scroll through and I'm like, Rob's watching something really interesting right now. I wonder. So you go to your friends list and see what they were watching, or any file that they were watching at that moment, and you're like, oh, unless you opted out, unless you didn't know to opt out, you could see what all your people were watching on Plex, all your friends and family. So that is the joys of the new age. But yes, sorry, go ahead.
That is really, really. I didn't realize that. Okay, so I guess let's just talk about some of the things. Like we actually had, wasn't a lot of news this past week. However, CCPX, which is like a big, massive trade show in Brazil, has been happening for the last number of days. And they debuted some news, some information. I wonder if we shouldn't get a strike on this. I don't think.
Don't worry, don't play it. Don't worry, it's fine. It's okay.
Okay, we're not going to get it, but but this is the trailer for Fallout. Obviously based on the video game. Did you happen to take a look at this trailer?
I did. I've played many of Fallout games, so I was excited. For Lost fans, that moment when I heard the voice, I'm like, okay. All right.
I hope you're happy now, Jacob.
So I love the property. I was already, I'm like, what is happening? There's a lot of big things in terms of both characters and, of course, the suits. So I am excited to see what happens, but at the same time, it's a very big property with a lot of things going on.
Yeah. So we had some information on Fallout. We also had some information on Furiosa. This is another trailer that dropped, and I'm not going to bring it up here, but Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. So this is Anya Taylor-Joy taking over as a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, where Furiosa was played by Charlize Theron. Again, this is another trailer that dropped at CCPX. I'm going to make a confession. When I first saw Mad Max Fury Road, I was not a fan. And I think it's because I saw a really crappy copy. Somebody had sent it to me, and I'm really kind of against that stuff. I was like, all right, fine. It was my neighbor, and I was like, I did not like it. It wasn't until years later that I decided to rewatch it on my own, and I was like, this movie rocks. I really
black and white.
It. I haven't watched the black and white. No, isn't it called Silver and something edition?
Yeah, but it's essentially black and white. Yeah, it's kind of like watching, for all the nerds out there watching Logan in black and white. It's a badge of honor to say, did you watch in black and white? You better believe it. Yes, I have. So okay, it is a thing.
Thoughts?
I saw the trailer first and I sent it out to the group. Typically you're on top of it, but you must have been doing something else. I really enjoyed it. I thought that when I saw that Chris Hemsworth in it, and I saw him wearing the classic fake nose, and it kind of it's that perfect blend of, it's a fake nose, it's fake, but not good enough where you're like, it's that perfect Mad Max aesthetic where it's good enough but not perfect. And I liked it, and I liked already the choices that Chris Hemsworth's doing, because for whatever character he's doing. So I was super excited to see a trailer. I was super excited to see all the things kind of blowing up around us. More Mad Max. This was something that was been in the works. Man, when did Mad Max Fury Road come out? It was
Mad Max Fury Road was out in 2018.
Yeah, it's been forever and a day. So I'm just glad that thing, and the fact that I guess the gold standard for how hyped you can be for anything is when Kojima was like, I've watched this trailer 100 times. We're there. When Kojima is like, yep, I dub this something that is awesome, I'm good to go. It's like so funny when he did that quote. I think it was like he watched some movie, he made a quote, and then he watched like, so I watched the Marvels today. That was it.
That was
Nothing else. I was like, oh, God bless you, Kojima. He was like, he gushed over a movie he watched. Then he watched the Marvels. Like, yep, I watched Marvels today. I'm like,
And that was it. See you later.
That was it. That was the note. I was like, ooh, yikes.
We got a trailer for The Boys season 4, which kind of picks up right after the events of Gen V, which I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to watch or not.
I have, yep, all of it, yep.
Okay, I gotta say, man, and this is season 4 is Jeffrey Dean Morgan is joining the cast, and whether it's
who would have thought that Eric Kripke could bring back Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who made popularized by a show that went on for forever, Supernatural.
Right.
Yeah. Eric is going back to the guys he knows. This is a James Gunn situation. He just calls the same people over and over. It's like, are you available?
Yeah, but it looks really good. I'm really excited to see it. And again, it's spot that Toronto landmark as you're you're pulling it up, you're watching it. This is one of your favorite it was Andre's favorite show, season 1. He was such a big fan of Halo season 1, and we got word that and then a new trailer for Halo season 2, which will be coming out in 2024. Weirdly enough, they didn't actually give us a date. I think it might have said February or March of 2024. But
fine.
Like I think about this. We talked about Twisted Metal before, and I'm kind of like, what is the point? Like, I feel like these shows could be so much better, but maybe they should just be movies, right? Like when you were talking about Twisted Metal, you were playing it on the PS1. They only made 2 games, and they both came out on the PS1, and that was it. Like, why are you adapting a property that is 21 years old, right? Nobody has played it in like 2 different generations. Why is that so important? I don't know. And they shit the bed with it. So now we've got Halo season 2, which is somewhat similar. I mean, this was originally going to be a movie, and
ask yourself, why are they constantly rebooting Transformers, My Little Pony, G.I. Joe? These are brands that have recognition through parents through multiple generations, just like games. The IP is just known, and they're hoping that you can just, that alone will get people to kind of just say, oh, I'll do it. The lore is there, so they don't have to create everything on their own. You just kind of have to cherry pick what you like. And for Halo itself, frankly, the Halo games themselves are not exactly Lord of the Rings in terms of depth. The books kind of expand upon that, but again, as we experienced with Star Wars, not everyone, or the MCU to be frank, really appreciates the lore or the legends, as they would say in the Star Wars canon. So you just kind of get to cherry pick and do what you want. I think Marvel and some of these other companies have been guilty of just kind of, even Marvel Civil War. Was that Civil War that we knew in a comic, and you condensed a whole comic book arc into a 2-hour movie? Some would say they would have wished it was something else. Why do you have to call it that? So even, Ragnarok, it kind of took elements of World War Hulk and kind of just, some would say, took some parts that shouldn't have been taken, and then all of a sudden you got left with She-Hulk. Like, here's my son, and you're like, what did we establish any of this?
Why do we have this? What is happening?
So, like, they kind of expected, they're kind of doing the cherry picking, which is, here's something that you love, here's what we're going to present to you, and then if you don't have the answers you want, buy stuff. But FYI, they're also not tied together. So it's frankly, everyone's doing it, and I don't blame them. There is even for something like Stargate, there is a fandom for it. We want more, and it's been many years since they've been talking about it for years. Maybe another Stargate show. Like, that was one of the most popular, well-run shows, and those who at the channel, and you can hear the various actors, said that they canceled things and did things for willy-nilly, no purposes. Yeah. Like, Stargate Atlantis could have went a little longer. Momoa could have been on there a teeny bit longer, and they're like, nah, we'll just do something else. So
we also got a news on a so somebody in chat here, I'm going to bring it up. Steve asked, is Reacher season 2 going to be all dropping at once on Prime or no? No, Steve, it won't be. Actually, what they'll do is they're going to drop the first 3 episodes and then they'll go weekly after that. I don't remember when. I believe it's December 18th or something to that effect. No, 18th is a Monday, so it must be the 14th, I think it starts. Steve will quickly check it out. But yeah, so we got word that season 2 will be coming out. But this past week at CCPX, Alan Richardson was actually filming. He filmed an introduction to an extended look at season 2 while filming season 3. So it obviously has gotten a pickup for season 3, so that's pretty cool.
So,
a lot of I love Reacher season 1. I know John is a big fan. We're big fans of the books. Big fan of the first Tom Cruise movie, but that first season is absolutely killer, and I'm excited to see season 2 because they're gonna have a lot more budget to work with. So
Steve's assessment last year was correct. It was all at once. February 4th, 2022 dropped. This time around, because it's a much more known property and because they aren't filming on that Pickering set in the middle of nowhere, that little small town, December 15th is the first 3 episodes, then weekly, December 22nd, 29, 5, 12, and 19 of January. So 8 episodes in total and whatnot. And that's the fun thing, for example, because when I was watching Reacher, they built that small town in the middle of Pickering.
Yeah.
As I felt like it was like a spy thing because they're like, oh, they built this small American town, but they just use it for film sets. And then when I was watching Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, they went back to that set. I'm like, why do I know this set? Oh, it's for Reacher. So they will reuse it when they can.
I'm excited for season 2. I can't wait. First of all, I think Alan Richardson might have put on an extra like 40 pounds of pure muscle mass, so he looks much more imposing than he did in season 1. And the last trailer I wanted to highlight here is one that came out today that people have been talking about. I don't know if you've seen this yet or not. This is the new Godzilla X Kong. The new Empire. Is what it's called. My son says to me, he goes, why is Godzilla pink? He's going through his Barbie phase, bud. I don't know. He's quite enjoying being in the pink. So this one kind of confuses me, this trailer.
I just hope they start saying Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. You know, this is hey man, that Planet of the Apes franchise, again, speaking of a thing that's keep continuing, it's going strong. And they rebooted it. I enjoyed the first like Planet of the Apes film, and there were some actors that we can't name that were in that film, and then it kind of got really good. It got really good. I'm super excited to see kind of where the next kind of storyline takes Caesar and the boys. I'm
well, no, Caesar's dead. It's his kin.
Yeah, but there's a statue of him, so I figure he's still there. In spirit. Right. Statue.
Steve says you got to go watch Godzilla -1. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this movie, and in theaters. I am really intrigued to go check it out. But speaking of Godzilla, there's a TV show on Disney Plus, and it is called help me with the name. What's the legendary?
Welcome to Wrexham.
Which one?
Welcome to Wrexham, the Godzilla film.
It's on Amazon, Apple TV Plus. Welcome to Wrexham about Godzilla.
Monarch.
And Monarch. That's right. Legacy of Monsters.
I was like, wait a second. That's on Apple.
Yeah, Apple TV Plus. So have you seen it?
I have. I've seen all 4 episodes. Yeah.
Okay, but there's more, right? Aren't there more episodes coming out?
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's like 8 or 10 episodes, right?
Yep.
So
that's correct.
I
thought that the first episodes were really well done. They've done a really good job of adding the monsters when necessary. It's just a story of a woman trying to discover where or who her father is, and the story kind of weaves back and forth between, not spoiling anything, that like Kurt Russell plays the older character of the young character played by his son Wyatt Russell. So it's kind of switches back and forth between the creation of Monarch as Wyatt Russell's the young Kurt Russell kind of building up Monarch, and then old Kurt Russell's kind of here doing stuff. So they spared no expense in terms of adding some of the CGI monsters. It's done tastefully, like they aren't that around too much. It's really just a lot of them talking about like, you know, espionage and like how to figure this out. So it's worth your time. And again, I've enjoyed a lot of it. And yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what direction they're going into.
Okay.
Because it does tie into the movie as well. That the Allison, you know, the Loki / Captain Marvel film. So it is a continuation of Kong Island.
Right. And I have heard it's actually, it deals a lot of the human stories that you thought, well, I don't really want to see that. I want to see monsters fighting. But apparently it's just compelling enough that you're like, you know what? This is really enjoyable. People are really raving about how great Monarch Legacy of Monsters is. So
it is worth your time. I think to your point, I think you mentioned you're going to wait till it all comes out and then kind of rock it through it. So I'm not opposed to going through it. I just don't know when the next part's coming back, because I know that, for example,
why have they stopped for now?
No, but remember, Invincible's like, we're doing 4 episodes, and then we're like, okay, we'll see you in 2020. You know, I'm like, what? You line me up, and I'm like, I watched 4 episodes of Invincible. I'm like, all right, I'm back in, and they're like, oh yeah, we're done. I'm like, what do you mean we're done? Like, yeah, we'll see you in 2024. I'm like, ugh, all right.
Yeah, see, and that's why I didn't start Invincible season 2, because I feel like, is it February it comes out, right? Is it February?
Part 2 of the part 2 of this. Yeah.
I find with the Apple TV Plus shows, I like to let them build up and then kind of watch them all at once. I'm not good with wanting to wait weekly for Apple TV Plus. And I think I kind of feel like that might be reflective of the fact that their stuff is so good, right? Like, we have, you know, Ted Lasso and whatnot, but even like the morning show, I mean, I've always raved about For All Mankind. Like, their stuff is pretty solid.
Don't add the morning show to that. The morning show is an absolute travesty. It is.
I haven't seen the new season.
Consider yourself lucky. It is awful. It is like watching, like, it is every cliche. Like, they're not going to do that, are they? No, they're not dumb enough to do that. Oh, they did it. Why would you? No. You're not going to embed yourself in the. Oh no, you are going to do that. It is bad. So do not.
Well, I'm going to watch it.
I guess it's like a guilty pleasure. It's like watching like Housewives or watching, you know, like Vanderpump Rules. It's just that level of like, this is a complete mess, but I got to finish it.
Okay, so here's the thing. My barometer on things is if I've dedicated myself to watching all the episodes of Jupiter's Legacy, I kind of feel like these shows, you're either like above the bar of Jupiter's Legacy or you're so bad you're below it. And I gotta tell you, Twisted Metal might be below the bar.
I pulled, like we talked about this before, like I watched season 1 of Picard and I'm like, this show is bad. I watched episode 1 of season 2 and I'm like, okay, this could be good. And then I just committed and I watched season 2 all of series 2 and I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Right.
Then I was like, fine, one more time. I'll watch season 3 and I was great. It was better than 2.
Yeah.
But I wish I just avoided all of it. It was not necessary to watch any of Picard. I just could have, if I told people that, like I told you, I'm like, watch episode 1 of season 1, watch episode 1 of season 2 and just skip all of it and just go straight to season 3. Because it was not necessary.
Okay, so we're going to talk about we've kind of already dovetailed into it, like things that we're watching, things that we're playing. We want to let everybody in the comments let us know, like, what are some of the things that you're aiming to do over the holidays in terms of, you know, catching up on what TV shows, what movies have been coming out on your streaming services, or what, if you really want, let us know what you're looking forward to into the new year. I see that Sarah has said that she's exceptionally excited for Rick Grimes and Michonne's Walking Dead, which comes out in February. I gotta say, I dropped off The Walking Dead years ago. I think season 6, season 5. And I haven't gone back to it since. I absolutely adored that first season, those 6 episodes. Phenomenal. But I feel like everything else after that kind of, now this thing went on for like, what was it, 10 seasons or so, and then they had Fear the Walking Dead, and
which just finished, which also just finished.
Yes, that just wrapped up, and now you've got this these movies, right? Or
the Daryl Dixon.
You have the Daryl and
was good. The Daryl
which one? Daryl, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, because he's in Europe. He basically like, I'm going to Paris. I'm going to France. I'm like, give me The Walking Dead with weird accents, European accents. I'm in. I'm like, I'm tired of, Georgia. Give me the European wackadoo. It was a really great watch. I think it did everything because it was only a limited time, a couple episodes too. It kind of did what it had to do, and then you're like, great. It is. Right. It is. I enjoyed all of it compared to some of the other Walking Dead stuff, but I'm also a sucker for Daryl, so I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I feel like there's just so much stuff. None of this stuff has really caught me anymore that I want to pay attention to. I want to highlight Steve. He says that he's catching up on the horrible Gotham Knights, which I got to say, at first I thought he meant the television show, but it's the video game that his friends had bought him. He's trying to grind through for levels and loot. And the only reason I wanted to highlight this is that lately, so last year, God of War Ragnarok came out for the PlayStation 5, and I got it.
Yeah.
And I just started playing it, I don't know, sometime in the early summer, right? Maybe in the spring. And then I stopped. And now I've picked it up again, and I've beat the game, but now I'm trying to grind through to get all the all the rewards so I can try to platinum the game. But I've come to those realizations, Stu, is that I don't know if I have the patience to do it anymore, because like I've just realized I have to fight like these 12 really tough bosses to fight this last one, and that would be like the last trophy I would need if I get all the other ones. I'm fairly close, and I don't know if I have it in me to continue, because I gotta tell you, I even put the settings on super easy because I was like, why do I need to like punish myself, right? Like I've already beat the game.
I think that's what they call now dad mode to get through the game, because I have responsibilities I have to do. So,
but even on super dad mode, super easy mode, you got to fight these 2 bosses at the same time, and I'm ashamed to tell you, it took me maybe 6.5 hours to do it over like 2 days, because it was just so difficult and so tough. And so after that, I feel like I'm almost burned that I don't know if I can continue doing this and going for. I love the game. I just don't know if I can platinum the game. So I don't know. So I understand Steve trying to grind through.
Are you by chance watching, just out of random, because again, talking about grinding, talking about something we don't want to do, are you by chance watching new Frasier? That's a nice segue.
No, I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't watch it. Zero interest. Zero. Yeah, I would rather watch Twisted Metal again. I have zero interest in watching that Frasier reboot. I feel like I have. I don't know. I'm almost like at a point where it's like it's not offended by these like reboots or these we're going back to revisit these characters, but it's like everyone that I've watched so far has been so like not worth the payoff that I'm just like, you know what? My time is precious. I have 6.5 hours to try to beat these 2 bosses. I'm not going to dedicate any of that time to watching a shite show. So no.
It has its moments.
But it's not,
I'm not gonna lie. It has moments. I'm like, okay, it's in the background. I got it. It has its moments. I don't hate it. I thought I would, but it does have its moments. So it's something that I won't watch again, but it does have its moments. It is, yeah. So, but I love the old Frasier, so it's really hard for me to not at least go back and see how Dr. Fraser Crane is doing.
You know what? I hear the laugh tracks when like I see the trailers or the commercials on television. I'm just like, not doing it.
It's the theme song that comes on. It's the black screen with the tabs of like the still comes up in between the segues in between. I'm like, it's all that's the Law and Order dung dung moment for me, where I'm like, all right, black screen is like the moment when, and then it kind of goes into the set piece. Yeah, I don't hate it, but I the only thing I'm really looking forward is the last season of Letterkenny is coming, so I'll binge that when it comes out at the end of December. I'll watch it, the last of Wayne and the folks, and then we'll see what happens and continue to watch.
Do you have a difficult time? Do you have a difficult time binge watching comedies? Because I know I do. I can probably get 2, sometimes 3 episodes in, and then I start to just lose any interest in it. Because I find that comedy works best when you do watch it spaced out. I don't feel like
I think it depends on what. If it's like a show like 30 Rock, they jam so much in there. So I tend to go back and watch that just because I've missed so much of the jokes. Everything's so highbrow and every little sentence is never wasted. Letterkenny's fine because it's not always there's a little bit of stuff happening in between. Let's be frank. It's a couple hicks up north like fighting people. So it's not not in-depth stuff, so that's why I'm fine with it. Like, I look back at the year about what we watched, and like I liked Fiona and Cake, which I'm sure you didn't watch. Blue Eye Samurai, which you didn't watch.
Well, we're gonna do our revisiting for the end of the year.
Yeah, I think Fired on Mars was really weird, but I really liked it for some strange reason.
Okay,
like I'm sure you don't even know what that is.
Nope.
It's like it's a TV show. It was like on HBO Max. I think it starred one of the not Owen Wilson, the other Wilson, as like a character who's like a graphic designer who's sent to the Mars mission. Luke Wilson. He's sent to like be a graphic designer on Mars, and then his girlfriend breaks up with him, and then he gets fired, and he's basically stuck on Mars because he can't get back.
Really?
It's weird. It's really weird, and I'm like, I'm in it. So I'm like, yeah. It's once you Google it and you watch the trailer, either you're told but it's animation, so you're like, oh, I don't know, but it's very, very weird. And then Scott Pilgrim. Like I'm watching a lot of animation. I'm debating to watch Fairway Downs. Are you gonna give Fairway Downs any type of opportunity? Are you gonna watch? No.
Listen, I'm not gonna even watch What If season 2, which all drops.
Whoa! Okay, all right.
Zero interest. No, unless like you say to me, okay, the series is okay, but you got to watch this one episode, right? Then I would maybe watch it. But I have zero interest in watching Marvel What If. In fact, I'm actually really excited that we're gonna have a period of time. Now I know Echo is coming out in January, but I'm kind of excited we're gonna have a period of time with no real superhero content until July of 2024.
Well,
right?
You have Invincible to watch.
Yeah, okay. You have the Invincible. You have the Boys will be out sometime in the spring or summer. But I'm talking about like MCU stuff. Like I'm really kind of excited to just get a bit of a breather from it all.
I would say that people have taken a breather on these shows for a long time. So
well, that is part of the problem, right? As Bob Iger said this past week, they need to focus on quality, not quantity. Which I swear to God, anybody can go back to any one of our shows, and we've been saying that for the past 2 years. There's too much. There is too much, and people were overdosing on it, and it was overdosing on shit. And what happens? You get stuff like Secret Invasion. And
well, I think he threw the other Bob under the bus for the investors. So it was very clear what was going on. It's like we're driving away a core business from, and I think that you've probably talked about it too. This is the first year where there hasn't been $1 billion Disney film. Because we're churning out, like we'll just get stuff and then we'll just drive people to Disney Plus, and it backfired tremendously. Where people the bread and butter is the theater, and I think they have to really just address that because it's bad, man. Disney, that magic year when they were making tons of money. Like even I was thinking about there was a social media post the other day when people were talking about how forget about the MCU. remember that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean? And I'm like, and they show that clip of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, and when no one was reading the internet, and at the end of Pirates of the Caribbean, spoiler alert for who haven't seen, I think Dead Man's Chest, where Captain Jack gets taken away by the Kraken, and they're like, what would you do to save his life? And there was a clip of, they originally showed that at Disneyland on the water, and when that character showed up, Barbossa, people were like shocked and screaming, and fireworks happened around on the water, and people were like, wow, this is one of the greatest moments, because no one knew that was coming. And now we kind of know everyone who signs up, and everyone, like, there was genuine shock and surprise back in the year of our Lord of 2006 or whatever it came out. So there is something about that. Even segueing to our other thing, our both mutual love for Doctor Who. You and I both love it.
So we just the special episode 2 just came out this past Saturday. So if you're kind of wondering what like Stu is referencing, Doctor Who celebrated its 60th anniversary in November. It is a BBC production, but across the rest of the world outside of the UK, it's being seen globally on Disney Plus now. And they have 3 specials. One that came out 2 weeks ago, one that just dropped this past Saturday. The next one is this coming Saturday. And then you have a Christmas Day special with the new Doctor. So, yes, special 2, or episode 2, or whatever you want to call it, just came out on Saturday. The Wild Blue Yonder. And your thoughts?
Let's talk about the first one, because I think that, without going into too much, what are your thoughts on?
Okay, the Star Beast.
Yes, because I think that's the one that everyone cares the most about, because it's the fact of the introduction of 2 beloved characters. 1, it's Russell T Davies back. 2, it is Donna and the Doctor Tennant. So
So for those who are kind of like wondering, like, what the hell are you guys talking about? So Doctor Who is obviously a very long-running TV show. If it's celebrating its 60th anniversary, obviously it is. But essentially it's about a time-traveling alien who has the power to regenerate into a new person. And that really does solve the casting process when the person's like, I'm done playing this character. And they're like, hey, because you're an alien, you can change your face into somebody different. Here's our new actor. So back in the early 2000s, when they had rebooted it, it was Christopher Eccleston did 1 season of 10 episodes. And then it was David Tennant, and he did 4 seasons and is regarded as one of the most popular doctors in history of the show. And then obviously he regenerated to other people. He has now come back, excuse me, as a new regeneration. So he was 14. Number 10, and now he's number 14.
Yep.
And he's here for these 3 specials before he regenerates to the brand new Doctor that we get into the new year. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, as Stu was saying, it's a huge thing for your beloved guy to come back, not as the same version of himself, kind of as a new version, and to bring back a favorite companion. Sorry, I got a bug in my throat. Okay, so the first episode comes out last week. The first special, the Star Beast.
Which isn't, for those who know back home, this is based on a comic, Doctor Who comic. So it's not fully an original story. It is someone that was based years ago with Tom Baker as I think Tom Baker was the character in that comic, the Doctor that was in it, and they've kind of rejigged it to make it into it. So they've added some things to it, which was nice, and added different characters, including the Meek. But what are your thoughts?
Okay, so this is the thing. I was happy that this show had to come back, because it's been about 1.5 years since we last saw any Doctor Who. I thought the episode was okay. I thought it was okay. I thought that it could have, there was a lot of weird stuff about it, like a plot hole. Like, I felt like they were stuffing so much, like the unit stuff and the lady in the wheelchair that apparently has like missiles and rockets, which wouldn't be safe rolling around in the event that you hit a pothole or whatever. You have explosives in your chair. I thought it was okay. Like it gave you the good stuff, you get to revisit the Doctor, you get to revisit Donna, but they didn't like really tie into what happened at the end of the last episode. Like it kind of was like they glazed over it like a donut that was 3 days old. You're like, oh, okay.
But I disagree with you completely.
Okay.
I think that for specials, that's what they are. You don't really deal with those things till the next canonical episode of Doctor Who. These specials are kind of like the Red Nose specials as well. They're kind of there and kind of not. Remember, Russell T Davies has always been quoted as like the Doctor Who is for everyone. This is what this show is. It's supposed to be for everyone, kids, adults. It's a general catch-all. It's kind of what Marvel MCU movies are supposed to be about. It's supposed to get everyone.
Right.
It is that, and that's why when he wanted more mature stuff, there's Torchwood, and if you wanted some younger stuff, there was this R.I.P. But there was a kid show that was made.
Very Great Adventures.
Yeah. So to allow little kids without the frightening stuff and aspects of it to exist. So he always had that mindset to channel the three, and this was back to Russell T Davies, back to what he does well, which is the really great way of making it very general, very accommodating, showing some flashbacks of other things, and like adding an Easter egg here and there without going too far. I think it was the right amount of fan service. Like the Shadow Proclamation stuff was hilarious as always. Like,
sure,
just enough where you're like, yes, I remember this, but not enough where you're like, it was a throwaway line, and he puts on the thing, and that was it. So it kind of threaded the line perfectly of like, just in case this was the first time you had watched Doctor Who, it wasn't too daunting.
Fair enough. I agree with that.
I know we wanted more, but here's the thing: because we get 3 episodes,
yes,
I'm fine with it. Like,
don't get me wrong, I liked it. I just thought, I guess I wanted more out of it, right? Like I was just like, like I thought it would have been a bit different, but I enjoyed it for sure. But this past week's episode, I thought I loved it. Like on Saturday's episode, I absolutely loved it.
But that was a pure Russell T Davies, like, this is what I could, this is me written, because the other one, the story was credited to the other guys in the comic book, right? So he kind of did his flair to it, as opposed to this one, it's kind of him. So yeah, I again, it's hard for me to. By the way, who is your doctor? By the way, who is your doctor? We never.
Oh, so now there's been 13 of them.
Who's your guy? Sorry.
I grew up. Tom Baker, number 4, and Peter Davison, number 5, were always my guys. But if we're talking about new era,
your doctor, yes.
I like Tennant. I wasn't a fan of Billy Piper.
Whoa! Wow, that's a hot take. That's a hot take. Oh man! Yeah. All right. Okay.
I didn't like her mouth, the way her mouth spoke.
Woo! Okay. All right.
But I wish, like, I like Tennant, but I wish Matt Smith had better episodes. I thought Matt Smith was a fantastic.
Matt Smith had the best episode. What are you talking about, man?
No. The very best episode is the Van Gogh episode, bar none. Right? Like, that's it, hands down.
You got the best episodes. I think that. Yes,
but some of the other ones, like I always felt like his season finales were always just like way out of left field. Like, when he had the eye patch and he was like the pirate, like it got to be too like crazy, right? I thought that the writing wasn't consistently solid. It was a lot of up and down. But the best Doctor Who episode of New Who would be the one with the Van Gogh stuff. Bar none.
Man, I jumped in for Tennant. No, Eccleston was my first one, and I thought when it first refreshed itself, there was, of course, we talked about this, hot rumors that Russell T Davies wanted Hugh Grant, and I was like, oh, that would have been so wonderful. A Hugh Grant Doctor season 1, all that stuff. Eccleston, Hugh Grant, I would have just died. And then Eccleston was fine, and then he thought being Destro was more important than Doctor Who. I get it. Destro is, why would you not want to be Destro?
I'm banking my money on this G.I. Joe property. I'm sure it's going to do really well.
The G.I. Joe franchise is great. And then he was like, oh, man, never mind. I'm going to be Malekith.
So yeah, I'm gonna be in the Thor 2 sequel. It's gonna make me so much money. You're gonna love it.
Honestly, he just like I respect him. He's like, I don't want to be committed to a relationship for this long. I just want to just be me. And I'm like, great, you can do what you want. I do think Matt Smith overall, I love the Tenet episodes, but Matt Smith got to do the best fun stuff because I think his companion Clara was the best companion out of all of them. She had the most,
even better than Amy Pond. Wow,
way better because she got the multiple of her episodes of her doing different characters of Clara and different things, and she kind of had that. She was not as quick tongued as Donna in terms of the comebacks, but she was really, really good. And Matt Smith has that type of like goofy, frolicky nature, but also he could go into the like, I don't think you understand the things I've seen, like the people I've like the. I think they always bring up the murders all the time. It's like, look at the people I've killed, and you're like, okay, let's bring up this trope again. Like, how many times is like, look up the body count? You're like, oh, okay. So yeah, I think Matt Smith would be the one for me. I think overall he's even though I started with Eccleston and I love David Tennant. Honestly, criminally neglected in is it Fright Night? David Tennant was amazing.
Yeah.
In Fright Night. So other recommendation for you, those who haven't seen Fright Night, please go watch it with Anton Yelchin, R.I.P.
Okay, so then he from Matt Smith, he goes to Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, that was rough. He had his the problem is it's like the direction they went, like you don't know who he is, and but like it was, I just wished he was more, fun. It was just so much sadness.
Yeah, it was. And I thought like that was riding the crest wave of the height of popularity in North America with Matt Smith. And then you introduce a guy who is double his age. And you're like, wow, that's an interesting curveball. And after, was it 3 seasons he did, I think? Then he goes to Jodie Whittaker, who was the first female doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very divisive doctor. And I don't think I had any problems with her as the character. I thought that the writing was just
dirty,
bananas. Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, he was doing a Russell T Davies impression, which is why when they brought the real Russell T Davies, they're like, "Why don't we just get the guy that did it before? Why are we getting the off-brand?" It was really weird. I felt bad because I think that there was moments, and even Russell T Davies was like, when the regeneration happened, they're like, we couldn't just we're breaking the rules, but I don't think people understand. We can't have David Tennant just regenerate into women's clothing. It's not going to work well. Let's just, when he regenerates, the rules, we'll break it and just put him in a brand new suit and just go from there, rather than like, everything has to be tastefully and correctly when you're changing from genders. And I'm like, I respect that too. So
yep.
I think everything was done really well. Yeah, he was in Suicide Squad. It was weird.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Peter Capaldi was in Suicide Squad. So, if you were living in Canada, or if you are, or whatever, I mean, for years and years and years and years and years, the past seasons were on Crave TV because they had an agreement with Bell Canada, and then they were removed pretty much as soon as the announcement that Disney Plus was taking over the distribution. All of the old catalog gone, and I think we were all under the impression that it would probably be on Disney Plus. Not the case. So if you're Canada, you're thinking, crap, how am I going to watch these old episodes? So if Stu and I are kind of talking about this thing, like, man, I want to go back and watch those because I remember some of those episodes, and you're thinking, I can't. Aha, you can, because the new seasons of 1 through 10 are so everything up until the beginning of Jodie Whittaker season, Amazon Prime. Yes.
Whoa. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you can get all of those seasons are free to watch if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. So you can go ahead and do that. But so I am looking forward to next week's episode. And then again, I think it's quiet for 2 weeks, right? And then it's on Christmas Day is the new Doctor, and they've filmed. So that's season 10, 11, 12, 13. So season 14 starts sometime in early 2024, I believe, or summer. They're already filming season 15 before 14 something come out, right? So So that's really cool. Okay, so that's Doctor Who. You mentioned
I recommend watching it. I recommend watching it. If you even if you don't know what it is, Tenant. I think the special effects and the TARDIS are done tastefully and nicely. So yeah, do it.
Yeah. That's all we need, right? Another streaming service. John and I talked about this a few weeks ago, Stu. So I have Amazon Prime, right? Apple TV Plus, Netflix, Crave, Paramount Plus, and I know I'm missing
I think the rumor was that they're merging.
So yeah. And Disney Plus. So before we get into that, what if you? How many do you have?
So I heard the rumor today that Apple and Paramount are considering merging to one service. So they're going to combine.
Well, they're not merging, but they're bundling.
Yeah, bundling. Whatever.
They're bundling it more in the US. We don't know how it'll affect, if it will, up in Canada. Probably won't happen.
I have Disney Plus right now. I have Prime because shipping and everything else. And that's the two I have.
Oh, really? That's it?
Yeah, I cut out Netflix because out of just a continued cancellation of everything. They don't give any time. Like every show I watch, I'm like, yep, one season cancel. I'm like,
wow, you really like Jupiter's Legacy that much that you thought, I am going to speak with my dollars. I'm going to cancel.
You know what? I'm speaking with my dollars and say I'm out. So I always jump back in. Like to your point, like when Umbrella Academy comes out, I'll probably jump in for a little bit, get like a month in, watch some stuff, and then I'll jump back out. There's just every single time they do something good, it's just they just cancel things too quickly for my liking. Disney Plus is one of my favorite platforms right now. I think that if you have small children, especially with trying to teach a secondary language, it has the language I want to teach my kid. So it's been super fun to listen to things and like watch Simpsons and other things in the language that I speak terribly.
Wait,
so yeah,
you're trying to tell me like they have Jive as a selectable language?
That's correct. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome. Good for you, man.
I won't do it because again, I don't want to offend people, and Airplane does it so well that just don't want to do it.
Pretty white there. Lewis says he's got Netflix, Disney Plus. He dropped Crave and dropped Apple TV Plus.
I just jump in and out for Apple. Like Apple, I'd come in and out. Free trial, I'll try it, and then basically go out or do that. So
Gord got rid of Disney Plus, and he says they lost it. So either one, they forgot their password and login information, or they've canceled it. So it's interesting that you think you like Disney Plus because you're using it with a young child. I like Disney Plus because I feel like it has, I obviously my kids are older, so they don't do the younger kid stuff. But it has all the Fox library, and then it has all like the FX shows that we don't really get out here unless you subscribe to FX as a channel, and you get like some of the Showtime stuff as well. So I've been actually really kind of enjoying Disney Plus.
That's a plus. Like right now, honestly, I've been watching The Simpsons back catalog right now in the background, but again in Cantonese. So I've really just enjoyed the fact that everything is dubbed mostly in English and Cantonese. So like the kid is watching all this stuff and picking up the language, and here I am. I'm like, I'm also learning on the side of watching because I know every episode of The Simpsons I've watched 1,000 times, but to listen to Homer Simpson's voice in a foreign language, because I can go through all the different dubs, and Disney does a really good job of like dubbing their cartoons and their animated movies. So for me, I kind of use a dual language situation. I know a lot of my friends also do it for their kids for French and for other things too. So it acts, if I'm going to have it babysit, then I might as well have it babysit in a foreign language.
So you're enjoying your son learning to say in Cantonese, "Eat my shorts." That's your
100%. If he can do it, it'll make my heart flutter. So that's you know, the dream of dreams to have him be able to do that. So and yeah, like less Star Wars, less Marvel stuff. Like I go back and watch some of this old stuff. Like talking about that, like Loki season 2, I was watching it real time for once. I super enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did watch it weekly as well.
It was one of the best surprises, but I kind of always knew that they had a plan for that show, and Marvel's going to kind of let them do what they had to do, regardless of what Jonathan Majors' situation. But it was such a wonderful experience and ride, and they tied everything up nicely. And for those who don't know, like I'm completely satisfied. There's not going to be a season 3, but I don't need there to be. So I was just really happy that of all the stuff we got on the Marvel stuff, that was the best one. And it was the last thing to show. So the taste in my mouth out of 2023 was Marvel's they're back, baby.
There you go. I did enjoy season 2. I did argue though that aside from the last episode, like Loki didn't need to be the character because the writing was not like you could have put any character in there because I think the writing was so solid for season 2 that it wasn't like you didn't need Loki until you got to that last episode, right? Now I have heard some people have now gone back and rewatched the whole series of 1 and 2 as a whole and have really enjoyed season 1 now more so because I guess as a complete picture. I'm not sold on the fact that I'm ever going to want to do that. But I did enjoy it. I got to tell you, I really find value in Crave as well. Like, because we get all that HBO stuff, and I love all their HBO content, right? Like, I like the Game of Thrones. I like House of the Dragon. We got the trailer for season 2 that's coming out summer of 2024.
Yes,
I'm pretty stoked about that, right? I'm kind of looking forward to that. And we talked about this before, is if I had a gun to head, which one would I cancel? I mean, to be honest with you, Netflix has lost a lot of my adoration, but my wife loves watching Grey's Anatomy, and she falls asleep to that damn show all the time, like purposefully, not because she's bored. She's seen every episode 1,000 times, but she puts it on. She watches a few because it's mindless. She's already seen it. She doesn't need to focus and pay attention. She takes her glasses off and she turns her head. She falls asleep listening to the sounds of McDreamy, McSteamy, and whoever else, and are talking about aortic valves, and she's out. And she loves it for that reason. But honestly, like I could kind of do without the $20.99 I pay a month for Netflix when I don't find that there's as much value as there was. That being said, you mentioned the fact that Disney and Paramount are looking at bundling their stuff together. We know that Warner Brothers is now offloading some of their content and selling them back to the other streamers. Like you're getting that Batman animated Christmas special is going to be on Amazon Prime. There's another Batman TV series, which I think that Paul Dini was working on, will now be on Amazon Prime sometime in 2024 or so. The streamers are saying, hey, you know what? Us pulling all of our content into our own bubble and then our own service and selling it to you was great. But now there's too much competition, and now we're starting to diversify our IP and selling it to the other streamers. Do we see a collapse of some of these streaming services or an amalgamation? Like where do you see this all going? With the understanding that the US and Canada obviously operate vastly, so differently. Hulu is now merging to Disney Plus in the US. We have it with that Stars extension, but these things are starting to, I feel like we're at, brick houses. Things are starting to wobble and crumble. So where do you see streaming services going?
I think we talked about this probably before. Venture cap is down. The money that was spent before on frivolous tech things, that age is over. That time, the economy has changed tremendously, and the investment of return is like what subs mean. There's that golden age of what it meant to do it, and everyone raced for, frankly, as you would say, the one piece that didn't matter. Like everyone was going for these viewers and whatnot, and Netflix had such a lead. And they don't have a movie theater platform. They don't have movie theaters that they're trying to make money off of, and they don't have movie theaters to keep happy. They don't have a theme park, and Disney does. And they're talked before. They're really cutting themselves too deep to kind of double dip, as you would say. It just doesn't make sense for a lot of these folks to do it. And you saw Sony is the brightest of all of them. Sony's like, how much do you want for Friends? $1 billion to stream it? Cool. We'll give me $1 billion. I'll add that plus premium. Then we don't have to worry about that at all. So I feel like it's everyone went for this race of a title that didn't matter. Netflix is still generally ahead. They have that branding, and in countries that they continue, and they're showing that we remember that ad where where Netflix basically love is sharing your Netflix password.
Yeah.
And they pivoted to go the other direction. It's like, nah, actually, you got to pay for it. And there's some people who are pod committed to watch some of these shows that they're like, forget it. Let's just go a different direction. And you can see Bob Iger going, yeah, we this doesn't make sense for us to follow this model. So let's just go back to the basics, go back to theatrical, go back to, ABC, and we'll see what happens. Even there are rumors that they're looking to sell off that property, sell off the television channel. So Bob is trying to make back money for the shareholders, and we'll see what happens. I can imagine a lot of these will be gobbled up and amalgamated. We saw already Hulu was that dream, and everyone wanted to do their own thing and not realizing how much that is. And Lewis, Bob said that 1,000 times already, that even in his book, that you can only be in that job for so long. But that's the lure of power, that when Bob Iger calls, everyone picked up that phone call. And when he wasn't Bob Iger of Disney, no one picked up that phone call. So
he did say recently that 2026 is his final, like he's stepping down for good.
We'll see. He handpicked his guy, and he also came back to fire that guy and said it was a mistake.
Right.
So, I don't trust anything Bob Iger says, because boatload of money, and it's like Lorne Michaels. Lorne Michaels can get a call with anyone.
Right.
You can't put a price on having that type of clout. So we'll see. I think Netflix, when the dust settles, Netflix, Apple will buy a couple of these guys.
Well, that was going to be my question to you. Is Apple is so flush with extra cash lying around, right? Like they sneeze and $100 bills come out of their noses. So Apple, I'm surprised, hasn't made an acquisition yet. Now they're going to do one or two things. They're either going to buy a network, like a Paramount, a Sony, or whatever, or they're going to start really buying the content, leasing it out from the other studios, right? And making Apple TV Plus
money on 2 terrible movies. So, the Napoleon film, they burned all that money. They spent how much on it? On a movie that they're going to put on Apple Plus. I'm sure they'll they'll recoup it by selling it on digital first, then I'll go on Apple Plus. And same with the, Scorsese film. It's going to go.
Killer Moon.
Yeah, it's going to go on sale digital.
Yep.
And then they'll be like, oh, now it'll be on Apple Plus. Like, they burned their cash already. And as much as Apple has money to burn, that's not a model that you can operate. You can't run on just losses. Even because those films that were all potentially Oscar-winning movies, I don't know if they're going to even get anything. We'll see.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to find out how they change the landscape or what's going to happen. But I guess at the end of the day, man, shit's got to change. And hopefully I would be fine. And obviously I'm not great at economics, but I would be fine if the streaming service said, okay, guys, guess what? We're going to cut back on the amount of new properties that we're making. Right, we're going to go to quality, not quantity, and as a result, we're also going to cut back on the monthly subscriptions because we need to bring the people back in.
And remember, with the strike, what it's done is it's going to make less TV shows and content. We already saw it when there was a time when you had any experience as a showrunner, you became a showrunner. It's going to go back to where it was 20 years ago, where the shows are not as inclusive, and there's going to be less of it because now everyone wants to get paid, and you could get away with making weird shows for almost nothing and then put them on a streaming service. Now it's like, well, we can't do it because we don't make money, and we're back to the way it was. So I'm kind of saddened to hear that, as much as I want people to be paid fairly, what's going to happen is going to be less product because the streaming service is like, well, we actually can't do all this anymore because we have to pay all these people. It's going to end up being worse stuff. Like we saw it. A bunch of shows basically were just taken off HBO Max, off Disney Plus. They're like, well, we got to take it off because we don't want to pay these people.
Yep.
Maybe
See you later, Willow.
Do what they'll do and bring it back from the vault after a while. But like, that's why you want physical media as well, because you think like Disney Plus and HBO Max wouldn't take away stuff, but they gutted a whole bunch of things, including finished movies. Yeah. And they said, we're not going to do it.
All right, so let's end this on a bit of a bright note. So we are in the month of December, Stu. I want to know, what's the one thing you are super excited to watch this month that's coming out this month? What's the one thing? Whether it's a movie or TV show that's premiering in the month of December. What's the one thing? And for those in the chat, let us know, what's the one thing that you are super excited to watch this month? And you know what? Even if you want to do something old school, like a Christmas movie, go right ahead. But what's the one thing?
What is the one thing? What's coming out in December? I don't even know.
I'm assuming you're going to think Aquaman. I mean, I know that you were really jazzed for Aquaman.
No. I'm excited as Gord's talking about telecom shelling money. I'm hopeful that Rogers is going to spend $600 million on Ohtani and bring him to the Blue Jays. Can I say that's my thing? Can Rogers pony up? I'm willing to press 1 on my Rogers thing and donate $1 to the Ohtani fund. And I think if everyone in Canada does it, we can get at least $35 million to contribute. If you'd like to give a few bucks over to have him play on the Blue Jays. I think. Wow, what is the? I think
okay, so I'll go. I don't
want to talk about holiday movies because I think that's a whole different thing.
So for me, I'm going to say Reacher season 2 has probably got me the most excited, with a very close second, the Christmas special for Doctor Who.
Huh. Yeah. I'm excited for
Doctor Who. Movies coming out this month.
Kind of a. Do I want to? Oh God, when does Rebel Moon come out?
Oh, that.
I'm kind of excited about Rebel Moon.
Yes, that is very soon. That's like end of. Is that the end of the month?
December, I think 22nd ish, near Festivus. I think I'm kind of excited about Rebel Moon. So
December 22nd.
Yeah, it's a non-Christmassy option. So yep. I'm gonna say Rebel Moon. I'm like,
okay.
Honestly, Zack Snyder, it's so hit or miss, and I want to see what he does.
I haven't watched the new trailer that came out.
It's probably for the best.
It was about a month or so ago, or 3 weeks ago it came out. I didn't watch the trailer.
I honestly, at this point in life, like, if you can go without watching a trailer, I salute you, because you have the strength and the fortitude to do it. I think so much of us now are like watching stuff. Like, if you can be one of the people that stay away from anything and watch it, think of the joy you'd have. Like, I look at, like, you know, your kids, like when you're growing up and they didn't see trailers for movies and stuff. Like, you can play anything for them that isn't I guess a current movie, and they have no idea what they're signing up for. It must be amazing to experience, like, watch a movie. They're like, hey, we're gonna sit down and watch a movie together, and they have no idea what it is. I think it'd be really fun. Like my kid is super young, but I look forward to the day when he watches some of these Marvel movies and he has no idea what's happening. Like, if you watch any trailer, you really don't know what's gonna happen. So Doctor Who goes those are gimmies. Like, Reacher, Doctor Who was all thing, but genuinely, it's something I didn't expect to be excited for. But Rebel Moon is going to be my answer.
Yeah, actually, I like that. I kind of forgot that was coming out.
And I also forgot Aquaman, but yet you remind me daily that Aquaman is coming. I believe there's a message. I think Rob every day sends me a text message that says, "Merry Christmas to you, Aquaman." I'm like, "Merry Christmas? It's not Christmas." It's like, yes, Aquaman. I'm like,
Well, there's also. Oh, okay. If I'm gonna go movies, The Iron Claw. I'm a wrestling fan. I like wrestling, and I'm looking forward to seeing first of all, it's an exceptionally tragic story of the Von Erichs, but I would be looking forward to seeing that. And I have heard that Wonka is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, the other thing too, people are loving it. So I'm not sure, as Adam Akbar would say, it's a trap, but people are actually like. People I trust as reviewers are saying that it's a good movie. Yeah. And now I'm kind of like that whole, like, first you had my interest and now I'm intrigued situation. I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to pony up to watch it. And they say that Timothée Chalamet is tremendous in the film. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's on the list.
All right. So Stu's got Rebel Moon, Wonka, and definitely Aquaman, Legend of the Ten Kingdoms, or Lost Kingdom, or whatever the hell it's called.
No, I think let me add the Artful Dodger on my list as a period piece. I think I have to. I think I have to add that, right? The Artful, like, it's an obscure thing, British thing that no one knows about.
Yeah.
I think that's I gotta pick that one. So,
all right. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody who joined us in chat tonight. If you're listening after the fact, please, we are live every Sunday night, 8 o'clock on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Stu, thanks, man, for hanging out. And I think we'll probably see you next week as well.
Well, we're going to do my retrospective on the fall of Usher. So we're going to talk about that one for 25 minutes. Is that what it is?
Yeah. And now with episode 2.
I think I'm going to get all the tattoos that Raul Cooley got and just,
just do
that too. Like,
the
fall
just walk around and say bruv, like that. Right now, I've morphed. I have a son who calls me bro for everything. So at this point, it's just natural. Just bro. Oh, dude, everything is bro. Everything is bro, and bruh.
Can you then buy him the following tracksuit then as a surprise Christmas for?
Yeah.
Can you that'd be perfect.
Mafia.
Tracksuit Mafia. Bro, bring it back. You should come out in the tracksuit, matching tracksuit, and be like, bro, if you're gonna call me that, let's do it together.
Yeah, everything is bro. Today, Dad, he goes, hey, bro, can you order me lunch? Because we were out for a friend's 50th, and he's like, bro, can you order me lunch? And I was like, what? Like, yeah, everything. Everything is bro. Even my wife gets called bro. We're all bros. Bros.
This is a great, as Bill Simmons with Kid Corner. So I'm happy and also excited and terrified that this may be in my future. But bro. Where did you get that from?
Everybody's saying it, man. Everybody. Everybody's calling. All the young people are calling everybody bro. I don't know why it started up again. I have no idea, but it's everywhere. Like there are people who have, you see it on TikTok, whatever, like, and moms is like the evolution of a mother, and it's like mom, mommy, mom, bro, right? Like, like it's everybody's a bro. Everybody's bro. So, yeah, Lewis, I get a slap in the head, but they'd be go, bro, what was that for? So.
I'm kind of all right, cool. I'm not involved in that type of kid culture. I think the farthest I'm dealing with are university students. So already I've learned the subculture of, like, I've discovered when I was chatting with some of the students, they're like, yeah, we went out on Saturday night and they went to a club in sneakers. And it blew my mind away. I'm like, you can do that? You can wear sneakers at a club and they allow you? Yeah, as long as they're Jordans. I'm like, you can wear Jordans at a club? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, I sat there and I'm like, what do you mean you wear Jordans?
You don't have to wear penny loafers and dress shoes?
You don't have to wear 14-inch heels that I've seen people just pass out and, like, rig out an ankle at the end of the night. You can wear what? So it was like, I just sat there. It's like, please tell me more of the things that happened. Because, we went to an event, a venue, and we walked in and the kids were kind of giggling. And they're like, oh, I'm like, well, what is this? Oh, this is a club. I'm like, really? It's like a club? And I'm like, I didn't, like, during the day, it's just a regular establishment. At nighttime, it was a club. And then I was like, what? And then they were just kind of talking how they were there before. And thank goodness that they wore sneakers because they would have tripped on the stairs. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. At the Brunswick House, you have to slip down the stairs. You have to fall.
That's right.
That is how you know you have reached the Brunswick House.
Yes.
Again, how old I am.
I spoke about the Brunswick House to people today at this party, and I was like, the $5 pitchers, which were just recycled beer put together into a pitcher, $5.
Honestly, that and Rockin' Irene, that was just playing music in the background as you drank on those disgusting, like, picnic tables.
Yeah,
I just miss it completely. So
yeah, I miss the potential diseases that could have been.
And people just wiping up down the stairs. I was like, oh my god. So.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We will see you next week. Stu, myself, we are bidding you all a good night. John.
Yeah, we're gonna add more stuff to date ourselves next week. What do you want to talk about next time? high fashion. Talk about Club Monaco. Is that how we want to do things?
Yes.
That was the it clothing, baby. That was
right.
back in the day. You know, you made it when you had a Club Monaco hoodie.
Yeah, so. That's right. I had many a Club Monaco Big C logo. And my buffalo jeans.
You know, back there, deep cuts, baby. It was like, and then the other one that you made it as fashion was French Connection UK. All those people watching those. Oh man,
that was past my prime. That was past my prime. You know what? I'm gonna bring back the hypercolor T-shirts. There we are.
Other random fun fact for the old people. Do you know that mod robes? You can still buy them. They're back. They're a thing.
The what is
mod robes?
Really?
Yeah, they're back. It blew my mind. I'm like, mod robes? Really? Those terrible pants with no zippers and just a giant pocket in the back?
No, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys next week. Stu, talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks, man.
Yeah, see you later, buddy.
See you guys.